Hello and welcome back to ND Live as the second stanza of this season fast approaches. Notre Dame still sits in an undefeated position. Now 6th in the Country Tonight show is not one to miss. As we'll sit down with the best band hands in all the land and take a look at Notre Dame's incredible defense. Now who better to start with when you're talking about Notre Dame D than the leader of it all, our ND Live Player of the Week, Joe Schmidt. Joe, is this the most fun you ever had playing football, man?
Definitely. You know, it's awesome when you're winning football games, playing great defense, and flying around with a bunch of guys that you really like. So having a great time with my brothers and couldn't ask for anything more.
So why Notre Dame? You had a couple of offers out of high school. You had the Ivy Leagues that were after you. Why would you want to walk on at Notre Dame?
So for me, it was all about trying to pick the place I wanted to go to school. I've been a Notre Dame kid, Notre Dame guy since I was 5 years old. So for me, it was about following a dream. And when I looked at these other schools, obviously some of them were attractive. I had full scholarships to Pac-12 schools, ACC schools. It wasn't about football for me though. It was about going after a dream of mine. And so I didn't ever want to think back on that decision and say, even if I was successful at another school, could I have done that same success? Could I have had that same success in Notre Dame? And so for me, I never wanted to have that kind of regret in my mind. And at least, if I go to Notre Dame and it doesn't work out, at least I give it my all.
I love it, baby. What do you say we do the highlights?
Well, let's do it, man.
Let's let it ride. Stanford, Notre Dame. It was a cold, wet mess in South Bend, Indiana, led to turnovers like this first Cole Luke interception. Tell me about the pressure, though.
So this is just a three-man pressure through the middle. Me and Jalen are coming through the A-gaps, and a shoemate, which is actually a safety, is following us. Gets a nice hit on Kevin Hogan, and great coverage by Cole Luke down the field, and makes a nice play on the ball in the air. So that was a nice pickup for us in the beginning.
Here you guys go. Defense really stiffens up a little bit after Stanford got up 7-0.
Oh yeah, I mean this is awesome. ST did a great job getting us down there, and the play opens up right there. Power, have a nice hit on the ball carrier. Offense
gets rolling. Everett Golson goes 33 yards down to the Stanford 17. Notre Dame's drive will continue, and it's Chris Brown.
Yeah, this play is one of my favorite of the day. Defining moment for our offense. Cover two-man, and kind of cuts Breezy loose. He goes in untouched for the touchdown. It was an awesome play.
Here comes the pressure.
Jalen, that's awesome. We have a few plays really designed to get Jalen in some isolation on guys. This is a great play call, and Jalen just gets in the armpit, beats him. Great sack.
Here's EG, under pressure.
Under pressure, 4th and 11. I can barely look at this point. Koyak finds a hole in the end zone, and we all go bananas, this was an awesome moment.
This leads us to perhaps the greatest picture in the history of Notre Dame.
That's a big statement, bold statement out of you.
You want to know what? I'm going to stand by it. Tell me about the moment. What do you remember with Jac Collinsworth?
So we actually ran that same pressure, which was awesome. It's 11 seconds left. We know that they're driving. They just need to get a field goal really to tie it. So we call the pressure, and Shoemate comes in, and I know it's grounding as soon as Hogan throws it away, and I know that if he does that, it's got to be a 10-second runoff. And so I'm looking at the referee. I'm looking at Sheldon Day, and we're both kind of standing there trying to figure out, hey, is this going to be a 10-second runoff? I know it should be. And so as soon as he confirms it, I lose my mind. Sheldon starts running around. I pull off my helmet. I start running for the student section. But on my way, I'm intercepted about the 10-yard line. I see Jack Swarbrick run out to the 10-yard line, just like screaming at me, and I'm screaming back at Swarbrick, and we both jump into each other's arms and just like look at each other and just completely overcome with joy. So it was, I'll never forget that moment for the rest of my life. And I think it says a lot about, Mr. Swarbrick. And I don't know any other ADs in the country that are going to run out to the 10-yard line and meet their defense, meet their players. He loves his guys, and I think you can't ask for anything more out of an athletic director.
Joe, there's only one word that I can use when I think about having you on the show, and that's legendary. Thanks for being with us, brother. We appreciate it.
Yeah,
man. You'll know. The newest member of our crew now, Laura Thomas, is out working the field. Laura, how are you?
Hi, Jack. I'm doing well, thanks. And I'm here outside the Ricky Band Rehearsal Hall. You talk about a lot of great plays that happened last Saturday, but there was one that stood out in particular.
Hi, my name is Russell King. I am a senior science, business, and economics major and also the assistant drum major. I had no idea that it was coming towards me till basically the last second, saw it in the air and realized I had a chance to catch it. Normally we stay off the field, but I didn't have to step on the field to catch it, and I just reached out there and grabbed it and pulled it in, and it was a great moment. Boy, the reaction has been absolutely crazy. My Facebook's blown up, and just with all these notifications, and it's definitely a fun experience. I'm glad that our band was able to get some airtime out there, and I just loved every moment of it.
Well, it doesn't get much better than the Notre Dame band. For ND Live, I'm Laura Thomas. Back to you in the studio.
Alrighty, thanks, Laura. Gotta love the Notre Dame band. You just can't beat it. Our college football insider, Rich Hidy, joins us now. Rich, it's the defensive show. It's the linebacker show. Tell us about these Notre Dame linebackers.
Well, I think without the linebackers, without this linebacking position in general, this team would not be in the position that they're in, the number 3 ranked scoring defense in the nation. You have your anchor of this defense in the middle. That's Joe Schmidt, second on the team in tackles, has a forced fumble and a pick this year. And then the other guy lining up just next to him at the will position is Jalen Smith. I think he might be the best linebacker in the country. I think he is the best linebacker in the country. As just a sophomore, a preseason All-American, 6.5 tackles for loss, already has a couple of sacks as well. Lateral movement is incredible strength for a player so young. He's taken charge and has just elevated his game to that next level, which is pretty amazing being that he's so young and just a sophomore. And then James Onwalu, he's starting for this Irish team too. He came in primarily last year as a wide receiver, more of a blocking wide receiver, but he's made that transition as a linebacker nicely.
And Rich, you talked about the best linebacker in Jalen Smith. Let me tell you about the best quarterback. That's Everett Golson. He's having a great year so far, but he has a little history with the University of North Carolina.
A Heisman caliber year, Jack. And when you look at Everett Golson, he was actually committed to play point guard for the University of North Carolina basketball team. Played for Roy Williams, actually. He was committed to play for Roy Williams, and then he ended up decommitting from North Carolina, was going to be a 2-sport athlete there, ended up transitioning to Notre Dame. And you look at the landscape of this game, how different would it be if Everett Golson was the quarterback and the point guard at North Carolina? Luckily, the Irish have him. He's putting together such a solid campaign this year. He's put up unbelievable numbers, but it helps to have a great defense. And how about the first-year coordinator, Brian Van Gorder?
Van Gorder has been great, and he has been great in a hurry. You put together a little piece to help us understand the change in defense and why it's working.
A smooth transition is rare. It requires inspiration, a special bond, and the willingness to embrace change. The switch of defensive schemes was a total makeover for this Irish defense. In just one season, Notre Dame overhauled its defense and its overarching mindset. When Bob Diaco became the coach at UConn, Brian Van Gorder took over and seized the challenge of coaching a group originally recruited for the 3-4 system. Since January, he has revived a group that lost 7 starters in the opposite 4-3. Van Gorder is traditional. He will simply overwhelm the opponent with relentless pressure. He won't shy away from disruption. Physicality is his MO. The NFL and the SEC are in his DNA. Notre Dame's scoring defense ranks 3rd nationally. Opponents score less against this defense than in 2012. As with that group, the Irish have their mastermind, their anchor in the middle, potent pass rushers, and ball hawks. 12 sacks and 9 interceptions speak loudly. The final 7 games of the season will display the Irish's true colors, but so far, this defense has been pure gold.
Well, all right, Richard, it's pure gold, baby. That's why I wore this tie. That wraps up this ND Live week for North Carolina. Thanks to Joe and Russell for their time this Saturday night. The weather looks like it's going to be a little nicer for the Notre Dame game, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. For Rich and our entire student crew, I'm Jac Collinsworth. We'll see you again next week right here on Watch ND.